Warning to Ethereum holders as things get a little bit more dire since we last spoke from, I believe it was Thursday's video, in which we were looking at Ethereum Bitcoin as having some, overall long-term downside. Now, today's focus is on Ethereum versus the dollar, and, well, there are a few concerning things, we might say, in the more medium term. Anyways, other than that, I'm going to welcome you back to the Air Crown Crypto channel. It's a nice little Saturday morning over here, and hopefully I can get this video out before my damn electricity once again breaks the circuit. So with that in mind, let's just jump into it right in over here. Starting off with not Bitcoin, no, but Ethereum. And we can start off with the daily. So first things first, on the daily, as I pull up my notes on my other pane, we can see that there is some hidden bearish divergence that it has been playing out. 1, 2, 3 drives actually coming off the last couple highs here. And so far, it does look like this one, likely has another leg down actually, especially with that daily jewel having that downside slope right there alongside DMI support. Well, it's DMI support within the same direction is what I mean. Of course, this one is essentially available as long as Ethereum is trading below about 1620-ish regions. So that would imply that momentum is to the downside. Now, here's the thing. While it does have some short-term downside, very likely the daily RSI will create some bullish divergence. I mean, it's not going to be asking for too much here, as we do see already a few drives coming off the lows, but that would imply that if it is going to come somewhere down around this region, that would have some short-term downside, obviously. So that could be combined with maybe another retest of the lows, maybe a little bit lower, but ultimately Ethereum, showing the same thing actually, or something similar on the 2-day time frame as well, which is going to close tonight here too. This one's actually already confirmed as far as I'm concerned. Hidden bearish evidence right here, and again, we have the same thing on the 2-day time frame where there's regular bullish evidence on the other side, which is kind of how we want to see this one resolved. But that would imply that in the more near term, we do see, some downside. So the question is, how far does Ethereum go down? Well, long term, we do see that there is this very, very long-term trend line here coming in from the June of 2022 lows, the November 2022 lows, and then actually that spike down that we saw in August right here. So with that in mind, could we see another retest of that long-term trend? Somewhere around 1500-ish region, perhaps yes. That would also be somewhat near the 0.5, the 50% retracement here. Ultimately, I don't really trust these sort of trend lines all that much. But when it does line up with a fib, okay, there might be something to that, although that is a little bit lower than where I would be expecting, because this would be, just below or just around 1500, maybe a little bit lower. But yes, that would still be long term, actually good for the BULAs, as it would just be another macro higher low in a series of higher lows here, starting from June of 2022, the next higher low in that November, December of the same year. So ultimately, I do think that this ends up being what's it called, an opportunity for the long term, but in the short term, probably a bit of scary times, I suspect, as we do see that one play out. Elsa is taking videos in the background. How dare you? Don't do that. In the very, very short term, however, looking at the 4-hour time frame, could very easily see a short-term time frame bounce. But again, we're focusing on the daily, the 2-day, the weekly here, not the 4-hour. So you might see short-term bounce. That's fine. But I would say that there is risk down somewhere between like 1500, somewhere around 1500, maybe 1550 on the lower end. Anyways, going to the HPDR ranges here for Ethereum on the 4-hour, we do see, actually 4-hour probably does try for a little bit of a weekend bounce. But weekend bounce, typically weak bounces. Anyways, bottom side of the current range lows is coming in at 1550. Top side is coming in at 1650, so $100 range right there. That is to say, Ethereum, again, even on the short-term time frames, still more or less angled towards the downside as long as it's below 1650 for now. Anyways, going into stochastic momentum, I do just want to highlight the higher-term time frames here because there are a few other concerning things. The 2-week time frame, which is closing tomorrow, remains with its pretty heavy downside momentum, losing or actually getting very, very close to the bearish control zone now, and obviously momentum remains to the downside as long as it's below about 2000. So I would say unlikely, pretty fucking unlikely right now for that one to turn up. Weekly time frame also pretty harrowing here, below 1712, still showing that downside. So I would say that the risk is on, over these next, I don't know, this next few weeks probably. 5-day time frame, same thing. Although actually might turn, well, no, still below there, 1601. So I guess that would be like the first maybe source of hopium if were to close above there in the next period. But going into the 2-day time frame, again, 1602, that same number currently living below. Currently, short term have to be looking further to the downside. I expect in daily time frame also showing downside momentum below 1630. So even if it does have a short term time frame bounce like 1620ish region, it doesn't really do all that much. It's kind of what I'm looking at right here. Other lower term timeframes, very easily could initiate a short term timeframe bounce, but as I said earlier, not the full focus of a video like this. We can see a clear and obvious lower lows and lower highs, and well, I wouldn't necessarily be looking to fade the trend just yet. And I guess we could just quickly check in on Ethereum, Bitcoin as well. Where is my oh, I don't even have it up there because who the fuck cares about that actually? Let's go over here and see where it's at. Short term, yeah, a little bit of a bounce, that's fine, but looking at this weekly right here, I still think that the LARP lines ultimately will play out. Just going to take, I don't know, a month or two. Monthly, same shit. Yeah. So I would still be looking at Ethereum just long term. At least probably trades its way down to like 5.5 million satoshis. That area should be a bounce. The question is that bounce a reversal or not? And well, we'll just come back to that if and when that does happen. But for now, short-term time, I just want to, reiterate that short-term time frame bounce is not the same thing as reversals. And going back to Ethereum spot over here, it does look like it wants to trade once again somewhere down around this low. So I think kind of best case scenario like 1550 again. Worst case scenario maybe just below 1500, and at that point there should be 1, 2, 3 drives of bullish evidence come off this low over here, and that should be a strong bounce, possibly a reversal as well, for the more maybe even long term, who knows. Anyways, I think that's a good place for me to be leaving off on this particular video. We'll cut it right there. We'll come back at it tomorrow, maybe some more long-term time frame analysis for Bitcoin. And with that said, I want to be wishing you the best of best as always. Take care, much love, and see you hopefully Sunday.